Greetings. My name is Brant Spessart, founder of Steward Wealth Strategies, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in to this very important webinar and lesson on estate planning. This time of year is Valentine's Day, and uh, we think it's really important to host a workshop or provide educational information about estate planning around Valentine's Day. I know most people are thinking, hey, Valentine's Day, we're thinking about giving flowers, chocolate, going out for a nice meal. But I will say one of the best ways you can tell your family you love them is to have a properly planned estate. For any of you that have gone through the process of selling an estate, you know how important and critical it is to have a properly planned estate. My father recently passed away, and I'm going through this right now myself. And no matter how organized or how well things are planned or spelled out, it is difficult for our family. It is difficult for those that we leave behind or appoint. It's difficult because, one, they lost a family member. They lost somebody that they loved and truly cared about, and they're probably going through a mourning process. But also for folks handling the estate, they now have a part-time job of handling your affairs. There's business and legal aspects of it, and it's very difficult, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. So take this time as we're thinking about the folks that we care about and that we love. Think about your estate, talk to your financial planner, talk to your estate attorney, talk to us here at Steward Wealth, and just see, is there anything that you can do to make things easier and better for those that will be left behind someday? So, on a lighter note, though, I was telling my wife, hey, look, I would like to be cremated sometime. And she responded and said, hey, that's great. I've got an appointment for you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Well, that's not really how we want the estate planning conversation to go, right? But here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some estate planning essentials and some quick steps you can take to just update or review your estate plan. In our role as your financial planner, we're not your attorney, but how can we help you when it comes to your estate planning? Because here's Steward Wealth Strategies. We believe in true wealth management. There's more to wealth management and financial planning than just investments. There's the protection planning side, and that's making sure we've got the right insurance in place or we're self-insured. There's retirement planning, investment planning, tax planning, generosity, but then also estate planning. And all these areas of our financial plan really they're holistic. They work together or can work against each other if not coordinated the right way. So having a good financial plan that looks at all these different areas is what we should all want and really what most of us need. But, Kenny Chesney said it right, though, when it came to estate planning. We all want to go to heaven, but none of us want to go right now. So why is it important to have a properly planned estate? The purpose of estate planning really is to make sure that your wealth and your assets transfer to the folks it's supposed to be transferred to, do it in a timely fashion, but also hopefully avoid a lot of unnecessary costs or taxes, and really try to alleviate as much pain and suffering along the way as possible. And with estate plan, there's generally a financial aspect, but there's also the non-financial side of things. So usually an estate plan is really important to review on a regular basis and make sure you've got it planned out if you have minor children, if there's concerns about incapacitation, or if you own a business, or you have an estate large enough to where you're subject to estate taxes. I mean, everybody age 18 and above needs to have a basic estate plan. But if you meet some of these other areas, you may need to focus a little bit more attention on your estate plan. So estate plans are really appropriate also if you have assets that you want to go to specific people or organizations or pass in a particular way, or you own property in multiple states, because a lot of estate planning rules are state specific. Or maybe, you're in a non-traditional relationship. I mean, you've got, a significant other, but you're not married. And, maybe You want them to receive some assets, or you want some children to receive some assets, or other family members. Really, you want to have things spelled out to protect the people that you care about the most. So, what could happen if you don't have a properly planned estate? If you fail to have a properly planned estate, you could have the wrong people inherit your property or wealth. Or you could have property or assets transfer in the incorrect form. You may have improper ownership of assets. There may be some taxation issues. And if you have a large enough estate, may miss out on some estate tax exemptions. You could have children inherit wealth that was maybe intended for a spouse, or spouse inherit wealth that was intended for your children. Could draw things out as far as court proceedings are concerned. May have a court-appointed financial or healthcare representative appointed on your behalf instead of you making that choice. And also it may end up that somebody gets appointed and you're not able to change who that person is that's supposed to be handling and managing your affairs. So what do we need to do? You have to have a will. This is your cornerstone document right here. Create a will. And if you haven't reviewed it in a while, you may need to just review and amend your will. Have a durable power of attorney for both medical wishes and financial activities. Possibly even create a revocable living trust. And then review your beneficiaries. This is something we want to do with our clients with accounts that we manage. Reviewing beneficiaries on your retirement accounts and life insurance policies is critical. Just because you've updated your will does not necessarily mean that your insurance policies, retirement accounts are updated, because accounts that have beneficiaries listed will generally bypass probate and bypass the will. So just because your will says something does not mean all your accounts are going to adhere to the direction of your last will and testament. Review your titles on your non-retirement assets. Are accounts held jointly? Or are they in the name of a trust? Or are they in the name of an estate? Create letters of instruction. Address specific personal requests that are maybe not in the will. There's nothing wrong with writing an I love you letter, or a letter providing instructions of just what your wishes are. Sharing those wishes and putting it in writing makes it a whole lot easier for somebody that's left behind to handle your affairs and honor you, because, we want to honor our family members when they pass. We want to make sure that they're glorified, and we want to do the right thing. But sometimes we just don't know. And remember, when you pass away, somebody else is all of a sudden left handling all of your affairs, handling all of your possessions, dealing with the legality of death, also planning a funeral, making sure people get what they thought you wanted. There's a lot to it. But create some sort of roadmap that, tells your family, hey, here's where the items are. Here's where my will is at. Hey, if I become severely ill or I pass away, here's how you can find what you need. Make it easy for those that are left behind. Spell out end of life decisions. Make sure your family members know really what you want them to do. And review this periodically, because how you felt 10 years ago may not be how you necessarily feel today. Don't make your family members guess, but also don't cause division within your family, because, as a parent and a husband, sometimes the hardest decision on Friday evening is where our family of 5 is going to go out to eat. Think about that. If you've got multiple beneficiaries, spouse, children, siblings, they all may feel that you want something different. Spell it out. Don't cause quarrel. Don't create division. That is not the legacy any of us want to leave behind. But express your wishes when it comes to advanced care directives. Have a living will, have a medical durable power of attorney. Think about deathbed issues. But also don't forget about personal and non-financial property. If there's that china that's been handed down generation to generation in this china cabinet that nobody knows anything about except you, make sure somebody understands the significance. Put it in writing, or if there's jewelry or antiques or collections that have sentimental value, share that. But if there's items that don't really have any sentimental value, share that as well. Or if you have possessions that you don't think anybody wants, but you want them to be honored, think about, hey, could this go to a museum? Or is this friend, neighbor, family member, do you think they would receive joy and receiving? Tag items, make a list, put stickers on the back of items indicating who they should go to. But the key thing is to do this proactively, because you cannot do it reactively. And remember, this is a way to say, I love you. This is a blessing for our family. It's not for us. Maybe it provides some peace of mind, knowing that we've got things taken care of and organized and well thought out. But bless your family members, bless your loved ones, the people that you care about in advance. And also, our Right Capital tool, if you're a client of our firm, we have a Right Capital tool that has an encrypted, secure vault that you can upload and store documents to. So you can store copies of your will, your power of attorney forms, these lists, these directions. You can have it where it's private, that only you can see it, but you can also have it shared to where we can see it as well, so that if a family member contacts us after you've passed, we can look in the vault and we can say, hey, look, here's actually a document that spells out what the deceased was wanting. And think about the people. There are different roles. You know, if we're married and we pass, we've got our surviving spouse. We also have our power of attorneys. We have our executor. The executor is the person that's handling our estate. Generally, they're the ones that are going to maybe deal with the court system. They're the ones that are going to handle accounts. They're the ones that are really going to be handling your affairs. Make sure this person has the time, because it's a part-time job. Make sure they have the time to handle your affairs. Probably make sure, you might want to consider making sure that they're local, because it may involve trips to the courthouse. But you probably also want to make sure that the person has the mental ability to handle this, and also the emotional ability, because it can be very difficult when it comes to settling an estate. And then you've got the inheritor. These are the folks listed in the will that are going to receive assets as directed. And then you've got beneficiaries. These are the folks that are listed specifically as beneficiaries on retirement accounts, life insurance policies. Maybe they're listed on bank accounts as a TOD. But these are the folks that are listed on accounts directly outside of what the will states. So we have some checklists: a surviving spouse and executive's checklist, as well as an inheritance checklist. Please let us know if you'd like copies of these. So here's some quick steps. And I would say these are steps you should almost think about on an annual basis, or maybe every couple of years, depending on your life stage, and the complexity of your state probably determines more the frequency. But if you have an estate planning attorney, reach out to them periodically. Ask them if it's necessary to review your estate, because here's the thing: your personal wishes may change, your assets and wealth may change, but also what's the thing that is always constant is change. You know, legality and government rules and laws and regulations for estate planning may change as well. So, number one, assess your situation. Review your assets, determine ownership, review your beneficiaries. What are your wishes as far as who you would like to receive? Is your spouse or your children taken care of? How do you want property divided? You know, are there creditor concerns? You know, think about your business and how that's going to pass on. Think about taxable estate values, but also just review your records that you have periodically. Identify planning alternatives. You know, do you need to revise or draft a will? Do you have your legal documents like power of attorney forms? Do you have a healthcare proxy? Who do you have as guardians for minor children? Think about who you want your executor or your trustee to be. You know, are there any folks that you want assets to go to or not go to? If you have a large estate, do you need to plan for the estate tax exemption? Do you need to start making gifts now? Should you have a trust? Are there certain family members that you can share some of this confidential information with? Or do you need to have a family meeting with your heirs? Have an open conversation. We would be more than glad to have a conversation with you and your beneficiaries. But like all things, it's great to have a goal. It's great to have a plan, but we need to implement. So reach out to legal counsel, have an attorney draft, review, or amend your documents. Create that flow chart, create that roadmap on where things are listed, determine the best way to pay taxes if estate taxes are a concern. Make sure all your documents are legal. Make sure everything's signed, notarized, witnessed the way it needs to be. But have that family meeting once it's all put in place. And then just have those lists. Put it in writing. Don't just tell it to somebody, but have it in writing. And then the last step is monitor your estate plan along the way. Review it periodically. I would say review it once a year. Here at Steward Wealth, when we review your financial plan, reviewing your beneficiaries periodically, asking for copies of your will, walking through those with you is part of the financial planning process. But has anything changed? Are your goals different? Have your objectives changed? What's going on in your personal life? And then how do things affect you right now based on whatever the current estate or income tax situations may be? So here's some documents to keep in mind. The last will and testament, durable power of attorney, revocable living trust, healthcare proxy, married property agreement, beneficiary designation forms, and then any other trust that may be applicable to your situation. I can't stress enough the reason to consolidate assets. We constantly talk to our clients about outside investments, retirement accounts. Having everything consolidated, makes things a lot easier. If you have things spread out, you must love paperwork or you must love complicating things. Sometimes you can diversify your investments even inside one account. You don't have to have multiple accounts all over the place because one, it's more difficult for most people to keep up with. It generally creates more tax forms and it creates more work for your executor, your loved ones, your spouse when you pass away. And it also creates more potential room for error. There have been a lot of stories shared over the years about, retirement accounts at old employers that had significant value. Owner or investor never updated their beneficiary. Even after family changes, somebody passing, remarrying, whatever it may be, you've got to make sure that stuff stays up to date. And our role at Steward Wealth is to help you review these changes that maybe you have on your end or that are maybe on, estate planning laws or income tax laws. Let us help just keep you aware of change and try to help you avoid pitfalls that may be out there. So that's why we communicate regularly. That's why we have these webinars. We have newsletters that we can share with you, during our one-on-one meetings. Whether we're reaching out to you or you're reaching out to us, these are good quality conversations. Too many times we think financial planning, all that matters is how's my rate of return on my investments. That is not true. Making sure that your family's taken care of, I think, is probably a priority for most of us. But the one thing that's constant is change. So we need to constantly review so that your plan is in your and your family's best interest. So our job is to help you not make panic decisions, provide that non-emotional objective advice and avoid knee-jerk reactions and, make decisions that are in your best interest. We're here for you. And sometimes with investments, the most dominant determinant of lifetime investment outcomes is not investment performance, it's investment behavior. And that's from Nick Murray, one of the best financial authors and strategists out there. But think about it, even with our estate plan, we can have great intentions, but if we don't actually take action ourselves and put it in place, we're not going to get the outcomes that we want. So be proactive, take the step, and tell your family you love them. Have a properly planned estate. If you think this information is helpful and could be beneficial to others, please share this webinar. Share our information with people that you care about, or your friends or colleagues or family members that you think can benefit from having a financial planning conversation. Here's Steward Wealth. We've got three uniques. We've got our team. We have got qualified and caring people that are here to help take care of our clients and their family members. We are a faith-based organization. So we have principles and values and philosophies that we believe guide us, because we want to honor God with the advice that we give you. And, we know our clients want to be good stewards of their resources. So we've got a caring team. We have principles that we adhere to and a calling from God that we feel we adhere to. But then also a lot of you we know that have connected with us over the years are huge Dave Ramsey fans, just like us. And we've got the longest serving and largest office of Dave Ramsey Smart Vestor and ELPs in the Triangle area. All right, so let's wrap up and put everything back together. So assess, identify, implement, and monitor your estate plan. Where are your important documents? Does somebody else know where they are? Discuss the details of your estate plan with your beneficiaries. Make sure you don't have too many accounts spread all over the place. That can create unnecessary paperwork. It maybe cost more in fees. And also, you know what? While you're living, make it easier on yourself. Have not just a consolidated plan, but have a unified financial plan that's working for you and everything's working as hard as possible, moving in the direction that you want to go. And during a really stressful time period, bless the executor and the beneficiaries. Have a well-documented, keep it boring, keep it simple, but have the estate plan that really tells your family and those that you care about that you love them. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this was helpful to you. Keep this as a resource. Share this with others. We're all going to be affected in this area of our estate plan or our financial plan at some point. But thank you for your trust that you put in Steward Wealth Strategies. God bless you.